Hey guys, it's me, Alexander Jarvis. I run alexanderjarvis.com and 50 Folds, where I educate you about fantastic startup content and we build internet startups. So it's Saturday night and I'm nerding out doing some analysis. I thought, you know what? I know so many people who don't know how to build Excel financial models pragmatically to actually try and help them build things and figure out what they need to do, right? You know, these little sum functions and stuff, but you're like, I need to use this to actually figure out, does my business make sense? And people don't share this type of stuff. And do you know what? I'm going to drop some real knowledge here. So I'm building a new startup called perfectpitchdeck.com. It's coming soon. I've got some developers working on building some stuff for me, so I'll get it up soon. But I just had this thought, was like, if I want to drive some traffic to my site or some qualified referrals, how much could I afford to pay people, right? Now, I gotta be honest, I thought for about 5 minutes, should I actually share this stuff with people? Should I show how my numbers might be working? But I don't care. Why? Because execution is all that matters. Like, I know this topic, I'm really connected to this industry, I know I can really help people. So, is me showing you how this business model is going to work actually going to change anything? No. But I did think about it for a while. But again, like, your idea doesn't matter. It's just what you do with it, which does. Okay? So, I built this really quick little Excel model to help me try and figure out the economics of this business. And I thought, you know what? Wouldn't it be cool if I shared that with you guys too? So, what I'm going to do is step by step, rebuild this model. I may even make it a little bit different. Who knows? And I'm going to show you how I do it step by step to really figure out how this business model is actually going to work. What can I afford? What the margins might be? Does this thing even make sense? Now, this is going to be specific to a consulting-ish kind of business, which is not necessarily super scalable. But I'm so focused on things which actually make money these days, right? So I'm sure it's going to be applicable to you and you can transfer those learnings to other things. But let's get into it. And hopefully it'll help you figure out how to make your business model work, okay? Now, I know I look a little bit like a caveman now. I'm not looking all fancy with like a suit and tie or something. But, you know, I have my head down. I'm hustling like you guys too. So this is just me keeping it real. Okay, so before we jump into the model, what I want to do is give you a quick explanation about what it is we're actually going to model so that you can kind of put it in your head and you can follow along with me and kind of understand what it is we're doing. So I got a little bit of sniffles now. I'm trying not to be perfect. So here is the website I hustled out this week. All right, you can see landing page. We've got some call to actions here to make stuff happen. Some little slidey stuff which explains how it all works. But what is this business model? Okay, founders need to have perfect pitch decks to get investors interested, to take them seriously, to create credibility. But it's just like, it's so painful. The number of pitch decks that I get which just look terrible is inexcusable. Like, no matter how many examples I provide, the templates I do, the blogs I provide, it just doesn't seem to be enough. So what I thought people actually really wanted was, what if I just had a clear, affordable, transparent, priced agency which was focused exclusively on startups who are trying to raise money? Would that be the panacea to the problem? And I think it is. So I said on Monday, I'm just going to start this. I know it's Saturday, so it's a little bit slow, but I'm just shipping this thing for you guys and seeing if you really love it. So let's look at the pricing, which is kind of one of the key variables you need to understand, right? It's upfront, transparent pricing. Our pricing is simple as it gets. Fixed price per slide, okay? So now in a pitch deck, you're going to have at least 10 to 20 slides. It can be longer. If people say like there's an idealized number for the number of slides in a pitch deck, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. It kind of depends on your approach and your style to how that deck goes. It's about the cognitive overload to consume that. Like, if you have less pointed information on each slide, it's fine to have more slides, okay? You can have less slides if you want to, but it kind of depends on how you're communicating the information, okay? So each slide we're going to charge, and we're going to provide two packages. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will have a design, and one will have a copy. One will And the second one will also offer like real guidance on the narrative that you're building and making sure that your content doesn't suck, right? So in this first package, you know what you're going to say, but you don't know how to design, you don't have the time. You upload it and you get something that looks and makes sense. And not just like bullshit pretty slides, which you can get some free templates on LinkedIn or something. The problem is, it's so obvious these guys have never designed pitch decks before because they're just terrible. Okay, so with the basic package, you'll get something which is brilliant. Okay, the reality is you don't quite have your messaging right. You don't quite know the things, the tick boxes that you need to do. So with the second package, we'll challenge you on that and make sure that the content, like your narrative, the story you're telling to investors, will stand alone. Because quite often you're going to email investors. You're not going to have that chance to have like the first call meeting before they understand that, right? I've got a great blog for you, which I'll put down the link below, which you should read, okay? It's called something like Why I Want a Pitch Deck Before Pitch. And I've got some real good thoughts which you should really consume around that, okay? Now, so we have two pricing packages here, okay, depending on the service. And we know that pitch decks are going to vary in length. We've got clear, transparent pricing, which is a number per slide. So those are going to be some variables that we need to compensate for, okay? Now, next, now that you kind of know what the business is about, we're going to go through step by step and build something totally from scratch in Excel. And hopefully you will then, for your current business or any new idea you have, know how you apply the logic to building this yourself, okay? So I'm going to try and teach you to fish, not give you the fish. Okay, so what I've done now is I've just busted out a new Excel spreadsheet, totally blank, and we're going to start filling it in, okay? So the core thing we want to think about the business model is the top line, and then we work all the way down. So how do we make money? Well, we make decks. Decks have slides. We charge clearly and consistently on a price per slide. So let's start out with the average price. We'll expand the column here so it fits in properly, and we'll format it going on well using blue. So the average price per slide we'll say is, I don't know, $30. Now we don't know exactly how many slides that we're going to have. So let's make a range. So we'll call this slides. And we'll say the starting number is 5, and we'll add 1 to make our range. And we'll drag this across. And then we'll add in some conditional formatting so it looks nice. We'll see that our range goes from 5 to 29 slides. Now, so how do we make money? Let's call this our ARPA, or average revenue per account. Just assuming we'll have 1. So to make money, we'll have a range of 5 slides, say, times by the average price. So we can see that something's wrong. That I did the formula wrong. So this should be differently, right? It should be equal to this, and we'll star out that. Times it by here. Drag this across, and now this looks right again. Now, don't get too obsessed when you're doing Excel. It's perfectly fine to do things wrong. The important thing is just like bosh things out and get it done right. Eventually, not first time perfect. And I've hidden that up so that if I go all the way across, it always stops at the same place, right? This little handy little trick. So now we can see how much we're going to make depending on how many slides we're going to make for each client, okay? Now, next thing we'll think about is how much is this going to cost us? So we'll call this, say, work, and I'll put a little heading so it looks pretty, easy to read. Now, how are we going to charge for this? Well, starting out, there'll probably be a cost associated with building every deck for each client, right? And then for each slide, it's probably going to take us time, so we'll call that variable. And now people may not be perfectly pitch deck happy with the first iteration of decks. There may be revisions, so we'll call that revisions. Now, we want to know how much time is it going to cost, or is it going to take to do everything? So we're not quite sure, but we'll put in some assumptions which we can validate over time. But we want to start out this business by having some sort of a clue around things and then refine for them. So let's say every time you work with a client, how much time is it going to take to set up the deck? I don't know, maybe 30 minutes? And then we'll have a variable aspect. So how much time will it take to build every single slide? Let's call it 15 minutes. Now, since people won't be having all the time, how much time will be spent doing revisions for every slide? We'll call that, say, 10. Now, I want to know what the total is, not every individual one. So we'll call that total. Now, so we'll have a fixed bit, which is start. So that'll always be the same, 30 minutes, regardless of how big the pitch deck is. Now we'll have the variable aspect, which will be 15 minutes. And I'll times that by the number of slides. And we'll have the same thing for the number of visions. And times that by the number of slides. I'll drag that across. Now we can start seeing, oh, something looks wrong. That's because I didn't fix this. So that needs to be constant. Now, let's see what the total number of minutes is going to take us to make each pitch deck, depending on the number of slides there are. So, it'll take us between 155 and 755 minutes, depending on the number of slides and the fixed cost, to build each deck. Now, I don't really like minutes, I prefer hours. So let's convert this into an hour equivalent. Expand this a bit so we can see it. So they're going to be 60 minutes in each hour. So I'm going to divide the number of minutes by this. And we can see how many hours it takes. But we get all these little weird, awful numbers. So I'm going to round that up into number of hours. So now we have our hour equivalent. I don't like the formatting on that. It's not quite right, is it? So this is the number of hours it'll take us per deck. So this is how much money we make, which will be in dollars. Or euro, to be honest. I don't like that. So let's see how much money we can make. This is going to be time equivalent. So how much will it cost the designers? So the main cost will be designer. Okay, let's just type in designer. Designer is going to cost us, well, I don't know. Let's say, let's start with, say, 20 bucks an hour, or 20 euros an hour. So we know on a time basis that it will cost us, let's format that again, between 50 and 250 euros per pitch deck for a designer. Is that a lot or not? I don't know. Let's look at what the margin is then as a percentage of the total. So we'll see the cost basis for designers to spend about 3 hours is going to be 34%. I typically like putting this in italics. So it starts out at 34%, and then because of, I'm guessing, the start cost, it'll come down to 29% of our margin. Okay. Now, that's going to be the main cost for our business. So we can call this, I guess, gross profit. So we would take the amount of money we're going to make, 150, and then deduct our main cost, which is staff. And we can see what our gross profit is. We can probably make this bold as well, right? So we're going to make between 98 and 618 euros per pitch deck that we do for people. That seems okay. Now, customers are not just going to start knocking the door, right? We're going to find them from somewhere. There could be people who are doing referrals. It could be AdWords. It could be Facebook. Don't quite know how much we can afford. So let's make an assumption for, say, marketing, right? Call marketing. Now, I am going to make a percentage cost. So we'll put this in percentage and we'll say that we'll spend 20% of our gross profit on marketing. So we'll times that by our gross profit. Actually, do you know what? Maybe you probably think it's better in terms of our ARPA. So if we have people doing referrals, we'll do it on the amount of money they bring in rather than what our actual cost base is. That would probably make sense. So we'll have 20% as a percentage of revenue. So to make that clear, why don't we say as a percentage of revenue? Again, make that bigger. So we'll see it goes from between 30 to 174 euros. Wow, that's a lot. Okay. There are costs which we'll also have, but let's not deal with this right now because I just want to make it really simple. Let's have it all place. We'll call this net profit. And we'll deduct our gross profit less our marketing expense. And we can see how much we're going to make now, okay? Let's make this bold. I don't like decimals because they're not helpful. Yeah, I don't like these either. Let's get rid of them. Thank you very much for staying, but you got to go. So, looks like we'll make 68 to 444 euros max. What's up? It's a percentage of revenue once we factor in all our costs. So we'll take this 68 and divide it by our ARPA. Oopsies. Convert this in percentage. Make that italic. Now, so it looks like our net profit is between 46% and 51%. All right, that little bit of difference is really going to deal with this whole starting cost that we have. Now, I don't know, how much are we going to make per year from this little business startup here? I probably want to think about, right, this is what we're going to make per deck. How many decks are we going to do? So we'll do it by, say, decks per month. And then I want to think about decks per year. That's easy because we're just going to times this by 12. Now, decks per month. Let's say we're going to do, there's what? Say 20 working days a month. So we could do what, 5, 10, 15, 20 a month. What if we do 2 a day? That will be 40 a month. So how much profit we make? We'll take that. We'll start that out, times it by our net profit. Yep, things looking funky here, but we'll change that up. Now decks per year will be 12, so we'll have the amount we make per month times by 12. And that'll give us a total range of values. Now everything is looking a little bit hashed out, so we'll make it bigger. So let's expand these columns. What this is telling us, oopsie, hello, come on. It doesn't work. Is we're going to make between, I don't know, 32 and 213,000 a year. It's not great, to be honest. But let's say if we do, let's say if we do 100 decks a month, and let's say our average is going to be 15. We're making 22,000 profit a month, which is 270. Hey, it's a couple of bottles and models, right? Now, I don't know, if our designer cost becomes higher, what will the effect of that be? Boom. We're now making 230 a month. So 25 years. I don't know. Maybe if you go to Philippines, we could do that for, say, 15 an hour. I don't know. Maybe our marketing might be higher, say 25%. We'll do more decks. So if we assume we'll do an average number of 15 slides per pitch deck, we're talking about 50K a month. We're getting near 600K a year. You know what? If we really whipped ass, maybe we could decrease the amount of variable time spent per pitch deck. What would happen there? At 567 gets to 612. Actually, it's not a huge change, so maybe we can afford actually to spend more time doing each deck. What happens if we do revisions? We half that. It's a bit of a change, but not too much. I wonder if more people start using the content service. Will that make a big difference? So what if that average price goes from not 30 to 60, but say 30 to 40? What will happen? So we're at 15 slides, 567K profit, assuming all the complications. Wow. 30 to 40 really makes quite a big difference. So the key driver for our business appears to be how much we can charge an average per slide. It seems like the costs associated with the business are relatively low. If we really put that up to 50 a slide, what are we talking here now? Wow. These numbers are starting to get bigger. We have to increase the size. At 15, 957. So we're talking what, 30 before? So 15 slides goes from 567 to 837. What if it was 50? God, wow. So from 30 to 50, 50 is 1.1 million, whereas 30 is 567. So if we really want to make money in this business, small increases in the average price per slide make a really actual large difference in terms of the profitability of this company. You know, what about the start work cost? What if that was only, say, 20 minutes? If we maybe had templates, it would be faster. So we're at 567, we'll go down. 573. It's a tiny little difference. So do you know what? If we offer amazing service, say we spent 45 minutes doing the prep work for each deck, what will the effect in profitability be? So we're at 567 now, 558. So we can keep increasing the quality of the service and we'll be fine. So we'll stick back to 30 because I think that's reasonable. So we're at 567 profitability now. What if we deal with really picky clients and they keep on wanting to do revisions, and we'll increase that up? So 10 minutes is what we've budgeted per slide now. What if that was 30? So we're at 567. At 30, we're at 387. What's that? 20. 477. So actually these revisions do make some change. So you probably don't want clients changing too much. What can we afford to do with marketing? Marketing is definitely going to be one of the key drivers for any business, your CAC, your customer acquisition costs. They're only assuming 25%. So that means if people are doing really small pitch decks of 5 slides, which no one does, we can afford to spend 38 euros. Now that's not very much in Google AdWords land, to be honest. If we're doing 15, we can go up to 236, which actually, assuming half decent conversion, our CPCs can afford to be relatively reasonable, actually. We know in total our gross is 450. Our production costs are about 100. So we're dealing with 349. We can potentially go up to about maybe 349 if we just want to grow, VC land. So 349 is what we have to play with, and we're only talking about 113 now. So if we spent more money in marketing, this is called 40%. 15 slides, we could afford to spend $180 on a customer acquisition cost and still have a net profit margin, excluding all the other costs, of about 38%. That's pretty decent, actually. It seems like there's some good margin in this business. What if this was like, say, 60%? Which is huge for normal businesses. We're talking €270 acquisition. We're spending €100 in production. So that's what, 370. That leaves us with €80 profit, which is not great, but we're still making 200K. Because as a non-VC bootstrap startup, that kind of seems okay, at least in the start. What we're going to want to think about is how can we decrease our paid in order to get more organic? So what we could do is, at the start, if we spent 60% on, I can afford a CAC of something about 270. But if we increase our average price per slide to, say, 40, we can afford to do 360 on marketing to acquire people. That's sort of an interesting business. Like, the key thing I'm thinking about now is market sizing. Like, how many people, when we're talking ARPA, are willing to spend €600 to have an amazing pitch deck and get them a better chance at getting funded by investors? €600, let's face it, it's not really that very much. I think it's pretty reasonable, right? But with assuming our production costs are low, looks like we could definitely really spend money on marketing. €360 to acquire customers. Assuming we're really solving a problem here, right? And if we deliver amazing customer care and we do some incentives for word of mouth, maybe that then might drive us to get a better organic rate. And so the benefit of this viral coefficient, or the viral word of mouth, is that will decrease our aggregate paid cost of marketing over time. So like a 25% decrease would mean that our effective marketing cost will be more like 270 actually. So if people were doing a lot of word of mouth, we could decrease our marketing cost by half. Actually, our acquisition cost would be at €180, which is in fact the same thing as saying that we half their percentage of marketing costs from 60% to 30%. So actually, a great driver of building this business is really building out word of mouth, and that is by delivering a fantastic product. So we could actually maybe say, what if we spent more time doing each customized design, spent more time building each one, we spent twice as much time doing revisions? 180, that's the same number that we're talking about, right? Simply because our performance costs have gone down and it's all coming from word of mouth. You could say that, over time, we have to do less marketing. So we're still making good money. But we could also then assume that as word of mouth comes, we have to do less paid marketing. We get better operations. We know how to deliver a better product. And so we can decrease the time spent on revisions. Maybe decrease the variable amount of time spent on each slide. We can decrease the cost of every customization product. Now we're making, say €1 million in sort of gross, profit over time. And this could lead us to making more. So what if we could increase that, or double the number of decks we're doing per month to 400, which is what, 4,800 a year? I think it's still possible. We've just doubled the amount of profit that we're kind of making here. It kind of makes sense. So, I know this is a little bit meandering, but I'm actually thinking about this business as I was talking to you. It was a really simple thing that we did, but you could see how when you structure out a logical, simple model with clear inputs, with a range of values, you can really start thinking about how you're going to start with the business, how your marketing strategy can work. Like, your potential marketing strategies and acquisition costs are going to be, how this might change over time. And by playing around the variables, you can suddenly see what the impacts are going to be. Now, this is really simple ghetto model, but this is real. Like I'm literally thinking this through as I'm talking to you. So if there were like pauses and I sound like a little bit of a, I can't use the R word anymore, but intellectually challenged person, it's because I'm really thinking about this with you whilst I'm doing it. And so I hope this is really valuable to you. When you are trying to figure out your business economics, when you're thinking about your new business idea, please do the same thing yourself. Like bust out an Excel. Think about like your top down. How do we make money? What are the key drivers? Keep it simple. What are your costs going to be? What are your margins? And like build that all the way down. And then just like put in numbers. Like if you mess it up, like dude, that's cool. Like just, but notice when you do errors. And if you keep the model very simple, you can't go wrong. But this is valuable. Like what if I spent like 6 more hours and I built some crazy shit with like integrated P&L and balance sheets? You know, do you think I really care about what my balance sheet looks like for this right now? Like, no, obviously not. I'm just trying to figure out what makes sense. What could my strategies be? Like if I want to do acquisition costs and marketing, my CVCs, etc., like how can this work? It's the same thing you should do for yourself. When you have numbers, sure, you can do things differently, but this is like the basics of how you should really be thinking about what you're doing, but just going out and fucking doing it. You know what your limits are, know what your variables are, know what you can afford to pay people. So if you meet some great designer who's like, hey, I charge $60 an hour, you're like, wait a second. So if I charge 60 euros an hour, you just type that in and you'd be like, does this make my model make sense anymore? Right? But you have that command to understand what's going on, because the worst thing that can happen is that you build a business that does not make sense. Like, don't do that. There are easy ways of making money. I'm trying to find them. I want you to find them. Let's do this together. If you got feedback, please let me know. I'm just trying to like bust out videos and try and add value for you guys. That's because people have asked me to. I hope you love it. Like, keep hustling. This is Alexander from alexanderjarvis.com, 50folds.com. If I can help you build amazing pitch decks, if I can help you build a better startup, reach out. Let me help you out. God bless.